Welcome to another episode of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say. Today we're talking with Nicholas. We did have this guest on the pod before, but I'm excited to be talking to you today because now you're in a black shirt. You're a CFI,
Yes,
and I
sir.
think we love talking about the transformation from student to CFI, and it gives us a little bit more to talk about your journey, and then getting started in the first place, some of the obstacles that come with that, and maybe some of the things that motivated you. But ultimately, it's going to be cool just to catch up with you. So without rambling too much, would you mind introducing yourself for our audience?
Yeah. My name's Nick Bowman. I'm now a CFI at Thrust Flight up here in Addison. Um, just got hired last month. It's not even been a full month as an instructor yet, but so far I'm loving it. And this program, I'm so thankful to have gotten a job, a career out of this.
Mhm.
And I'm excited to teach the next generation of pilots because I literally was just there a month and a half ago with training, and now
Yeah.
I'm the one giving the training,
Right.
and I've had the best um, teachers, and I've taken what I've liked and I've taken what I didn't like, and I'm gonna try and make the best possible medium for my current students and future students. So
Awesome.
I'm ready. I'm excited to
Yeah.
get going.
And being like fresh out of that position, you kind of are super aware what they're going through enough to
Oh
be able to
yeah.
do it, like you said,
Mm.
choose the parts that you think you could improve on and add your little slice to it. That's awesome.
Oh
And
yeah.
then before we get started, just to let you guys know, this podcast is for anyone who's maybe a CFI or in flight training or thinking about starting flight training, or maybe you're just interested in learning a little bit more about GA and what it's like going through flight training now in 2026. And if you're listening, thank you for joining in. My name is Zach. We have this podcast every week on every streaming platform, including YouTube, where you can watch it if you'd like. Nicholas, one of my questions for you is going to be, what's it like being a CFI after having had just been a student?
It's super eye opening
Hmm.
because you get through the program, studying totally different topics per rating and using your knowledge for that specific rating. But then as an instructor, you have a commercial student or an instrument student, and so you kind of have to shift the way that you're performing,
Hmm.
and then completely change whenever you have your next student.
Yeah.
And it's super eye opening and keeping me and on my toes for being able to give quality instruction, stay on top of my game because now it's my responsibility for the student most importantly and the plane most importantly. Like
Right.
now it's all my responsibility,
Yeah.
and it's super eye opening, and I learn every single flight.
Hmm. Yeah. I haven't had anyone say anything about. I haven't had anyone say anything about the fact that you're switching around the ratings and
Hmm.
then what you get to talk about from day to day. Because as a student, you're focused on one thing at a time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a completely different experience. No one's talked about yet. When you say eye opening, what's a few more examples that you could maybe think of? Just like how things work in general, or
Hmm.
or what's it like to be on the employee side, or what do you mean?
So like you're going through instrument training, for example, and you're not doing any of your maneuvers, your stalls, your performance landings, anything
Hmm.
like that. But then, as an instructor, if a kid is struggling with a lazy eight or a short field landing, you're
Right.
going to go ahead and teach them that, and you're going to be doing your VFR tactics or your VFR skills, and then an hour later, you're going to be teaching a kid how to do an instrument approach or a hold,
Hmm.
and it's keeping me sharp on everything because as the student, like, oh, I'm only focusing on instrument approaches or holds for
Right.
2-3 months doing their instrument rating, and then you'll have another guy doing their maneuvers and their landings, and that's all they're focusing on. They're not doing instrument for that given time.
Right.
So as the instructor, you're getting that fair medium of always doing every single skill, I guess, IFR and VFR. So it's
Right.
it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure as a student, it's easy to not have like a full perspective of what it's like
Oh
as
yeah.
a CFI,
Mhm.
because why? I mean, why would you have that perspective? Uh, yeah, I can imagine actually. I never thought about it that way. Before you started flight training, what were you doing?
I was a welder
A
before
welder.
I started flying.
Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha. Were you working as a welder, or how long did you do that?
Did that for about 3.5, 4 years
Okay.
before I got into aviation.
Mhm.
Right out of high school, I didn't go to college. I went the trade route and went and worked with my uncle in his steel business,
Yeah.
and we just did blue collar construction. It
Yeah.
was, and then I just got
Good
tired of
work.
it. Yeah, I mean it was great work. Sometimes I miss it, like
Yeah.
just kind of putting your head down, going to work,
Yeah.
and but now it's so much better. I think there's
Yeah.
definitely pros and cons to both, but I'm so glad I chose to come this route.
Yeah. was there something during that time that kind of put you onto aviation?
Yeah, my dad flies for Delta,
Yeah.
and I kind of just grew up with that lifestyle. It wasn't anything like he definitely inspired me, obviously, but
Yeah.
growing up, it was so normal. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, that's just dad's job. Like I
Yeah.
never, thought about it. And then as I was actually into the workforce, and then start to realize as an adult, like, oh, his life is really cool,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I haven't started that yet. And then I just jumped right in.
Yeah, it's I remember a similar experience when getting into the workforce and being like, this is different than I thought it was gonna be. And I didn't know the differences between a lot of the options.
Oh yeah,
Which is also why it's probably hard to choose some sort of college degree when I'm 18 or 16 or
yeah,
whatever
oh, yeah,
age. Yeah, they're like, figure it out now. I'm like, "Bro, I don't even know how
yeah.
taxes work."
Mhm.
Anyways, sorry. But yours, what I want to say is that when you got once you got into the workforce, I'm sure you were able to see that, oh, it's not that easy to make that much money and also enjoy your
Oh
work.
yeah, there's a huge
Yeah.
medium.
Yeah.
It's like with welding, for example, I was doing like 10, 12-hour days, 5 hours a week or 5 days a week, and in the blistering summer,
Wow.
working with molten metal and stuff, so it was super hot, and like
And that
it was
mask
it was yeah, it was
or arc welding.
enjoyable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was enjoyable for like I don't know, first year and a half, 2 years, and then we get to year three, and it's the same thing. I'm burning myself, just
Yeah.
suffering in the Texas sun.
Yeah.
It's like this is like I made a great living, I was fine,
Yeah.
but it's like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? Like, no. So
Yeah.
I went ahead and like, why haven't I tried an aviation yet? And I gave it a chance and fell in love with it.
So was there? Can you tell me a little before we move on? Anyways, can you tell me a little bit about um, the point at which you came to where you're thinking, okay, it's time to make a change. Maybe
Mhm.
you've thought about it already. Maybe you're aware of the option because your dad.
Mhm.
Um, what was it like leading up to the moment where you finally looked it up or made a call or came and did a discovery flight or anything like that?
Okay. I well, I have a couple friends who were already doing it, just like friends of friends, like my dad's friends from the airlines, their sons were doing it.
Mm,
I don't know, I'd complain to my dad or something like, dude, I work sucked, like I like burned myself or almost got hurt or got into an argument with like a foreman or
yeah.
a former employee. And he's like, dude, how come I got so many friends' sons who are working their way up right now in the civilian way? Why haven't you? Would you be considered in that, or would you like to maybe try that or look into it? It's like, yeah, like why not? And so
Yeah.
then I went and looked into it and talked to those people that were CFIs or in flight training, and
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I should go do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went up to a few different flight schools. I wanted to get out of my town, but also stay close enough to home.
Mm,
And I went up and did a discovery flight, and was like, oh, dude, this is so cool. And
yeah.
right there, just signed pen and paper and got started the next month.
That's pretty
So,
awesome. That's pretty awesome. It's just kind of that simple of an idea, at least. I
hmm
think that a lot of people come across the idea of starting flight training and but don't know anyone and
hmm
think to themselves like, I don't know enough, or is it really going to be worth it? Or maybe they get to the point to where, which I guess I'll ask you about. You get to the point to where you see like the cost of flight training. You went to a different school before Thrust, right?
hmm
So you got your. Did you finish your private at the other
Yeah,
school?
finished private and almost finished instrument there.
Okay, gotcha. But you ended up finishing instrument here.
hmm
Did you have to kind of start the rating over when he came over?
I had to do. It wasn't able to transfer because the last school that I was at didn't log certain things properly,
Oh,
or
that's even
not
worse.
properly, but in the way that needed to be transferred over here.
Right, because it's a 141 school and the minimums, and I wonder
Yeah,
if there's like a different way of doing that.
yeah. The way they logged the ground school and the training was good for their system, but not good for ours. And
Yeah.
so whenever they went to transfer it, I got half the credit. So I had to do like 14 hours, 14 or 15 hours in the with us over here before I could do the EOC.
Okay, gotcha. Well, congratulations on making the switch. Did you consider finishing with the other school,
I did, but
or was that the original plan?
the original plan was to finish with them, but it just ended up taking way too long.
Okay.
Like they advertised 12 to 16 months or 18 months from private to multi, and I
Okay.
was on month 12 just getting my private. So it's
Oh,
like,
oh, I didn't know that. I mean, we were talking
yeah,
before. You told me that you had a little bit of a tough time getting to where you want to go there, but I
yeah,
didn't know that it took that quite that long.
yeah. I was averaging like 8 to 10 hours a month flying, and you get rusty after a time.
8 to 12 hours a month is crazy to me.
Yeah, so like once a
Yeah.
week, once or twice a week, based
Yeah.
on totally availability or weather. They'd cancel for the slightest things, not give you a chance to just, hey, let's wait and see if till this burns off, and then we'll maybe get a little shorter flight, but you'll still get something in,
Right.
like we do over here.
Yeah.
And they would just outright cancel, or a plane would go out for maintenance, and you would be out of luck because there's already so many students booked for the other planes. So you just have to wait until availability opened up, or that plane got out of maintenance quick enough that you were registered for.
And you were about to talk about it, but I don't think that a lot of people always understand, maybe if they've never gone through it or if they haven't started yet, they don't always understand the concept of staying proficient. So, I mean, I'm sure this affected your proficiency as you were going through
100%.
your program, right? Can you tell me a little bit about like how you found out about that and what that experience was like?
The like maintaining proficiency.
Yeah, because you're only get to fly like once a week. Then
Yeah.
I'm sure that struggled with you building your skill set.
Okay.
Yeah.
It chair flying was really important because you can do everything in the plane, but as soon as you're taking off, you're paying however much per hour. It all just goes into staying sharp on the ground with chair flying, or studying with your friends, or studying by yourself. But you definitely have to put in some kind of work outside of just being at school.
Right.
Because if you show up to your flight unprepared and you don't remember how to set up for a certain maneuver or a landing, that's going to cut out of your time in the air, because your CFI is going to have to teach you how to do that. And by the time he teaches you, shows you, and then you perform it, you've already wasted so much time to where you could have, if you came prepared, been ready to do everything and maximize your efficiency for that given flight. And it's super important to stay on top of that. And something that I wish I was a little bit better about. Like, I wasn't perfect, and I, definitely had some times where I like didn't study or something. It showed. And so during those times, like if I showed up unprepared, now I got to wait another week to go fly, and then hopefully you stick all the information, or all it's stuck in your head from your current flight to the next one. But if you just come prepared to your flight, you're totally okay.
Yeah.
And you're maximizing your efficiency for your training.
Right.
So
that makes sense. And so, given from your start point of starting for private and then making it to now, I guess you're about, I think a month, you said, into your CFI work. It's about 2 years now ish.
Yeah.
That you've been
about 2 years
doing this. Okay, gotcha. That's not too bad though. That's good. You've gotten some training in. You've gotten some experience. You got to kind of take in some of the information. I asked that though because it was about a year into your journey when you came to Thrust. About how long did you say it took from starting here at Thrust, halfway through your instrument ish, to now?
It was about 9 months.
Yeah.
I came here in March of 25, like late March 25, and then got my multi early February, like February 5th or something.
Okay. Awesome.
So it was I guess that's 10 months, 11 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Less than
I didn't do the math, but
less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. That's good though. I asked that because I mean, obviously you can see the comparison, but also to say congratulations on getting the CFI role. It's not always easy. I know there's a lot of people out here looking for work right now, and so I think everyone I talk to that's a CFI, they're grateful for that. So congratulations. To zoom out a little bit, of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about your training here at Thrust and some of the transition into being a CFI. But I do want to ask you about, when you're starting here at Thrust. First of all, how did you land on Thrust? How did you find out about Thrust Flight, and how did that become your choice?
It was word of mouth. I had a friend from my hometown who was working here and then went to training here, and he just told me about it, and it sounded way too good to be true.
Yeah.
Because of what I was used to at my last program, each rating taking more, my private was taking, 10 months to finish that. And he's like, "Oh, dude, I got my private in 3 months or 2 months, whatever."
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Yeah, right, dude. How good is that training really?" Because, at the time I thought mine was really good just because I had never seen anything else. And that was my experience. That was all I knew. Right. And then after he was flying through the program and he was doing just better training than I was. Yeah. And I was like, I need to go give this a shot.
Okay, cool.
And I came up here. It was word of mouth.
Exactly. Okay, gotcha. And I think a lot of people, they see a friend that they had in high school posting on Instagram or something, like, maybe I should go there instead. So the question I really want to get to though, and I think it's a little interesting given that your dad was an airline pilot, right, or is an airline pilot. Um, if you if you come to the school and you start talking to the admissions team and then you start to see how much it costs, that can be kind of a deterrent, I think, in a lot of ways. For me, I'm pretty weary about taking out any sort of loan or some
Oh
sort of
yeah.
large commitment like that,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of people relate to that, and sometimes that's what's stopping a lot of people. I'm wondering, what like how come that didn't stop you, or were you worried about that at all?
So it's a huge lump sum, and as you know, being an airline pilot is a very prestigious career,
Hmm.
and you're paid for your knowledge and the responsibility. And the reason why they're paid so much is because they have so many lives in their hand, and it's up to them to make those decisions
Right.
for all those people that you have in the back.
Yeah.
And well, where I was getting at with that huge lump sum is
Yeah.
me. I'm kind of somebody to if I get into something, I'm gonna see it through and finish to the best of my ability.
Right.
And with that being said, the debt that we're taking on to with this huge loan for flight training
Yeah.
eventually will get paid off, because once we work very hard and get to the airlines or whatever you're trying to pursue,
Yeah.
usually you're paid a pretty lump sum as a pilot, and
Yeah.
all your debt or the debt for the loan, it's gonna suck for the time being of you having that debt. But as soon as you make it to where you're trying to go, it will be you can pay it off in a few years, and
Yeah.
you'll live a very comfortable life. Is what I was getting at.
Right. Right. No.
So that's that. The reason why is because I know later in the future it's going to be okay,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be kind of tough in the time being whenever you do have to start paying off that loan. But
Right.
once you make it to where you're trying to go, it would be no problem.
I'm wondering because still, I think that part might even be pretty easy to like put together. But then I think some people, or at least I know how it would be. I'd talk myself into thinking it can't be that simple,
Hmm.
and I guess you're not saying it's easy, but it kind of is that simple. Um, I'm wondering, did you talk to your dad about signing up for somewhere like Thrust Flight?
Hmm.
Did y'all talk about the money and all? And did he give you any insight on that?
Yeah, he told me he went the military route, so it's a little
Okay.
bit different. But and during that time, you in training, you're going to be you know living paycheck to paycheck in a sense, but
Yeah.
like you're doing it for a greater cause and
Mhm.
embracing the suck pretty much
Right.
is because everybody has to work hard and endure that grit to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
But because you endure that grit, it's going to at least for me inspire me to keep going
Mhm.
and get to that next step, just so I don't have to endure that grit, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. It motivates you to get through it
Yeah,
because it kind of sucks in the
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. I guess I just asked that question because I think it means a lot to know that you know, your dad as an airline pilot is able to justify some of the cost of these things and
yeah.
some of the commitment and the effort.
Hmm.
Um, after having a lot of these conversations, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to get in the plane and start flying at some point.
Hmm.
It sounds really cool. Okay, so let's back up a little bit or zoom out, anyways. Um, Now that you're a CFI, what's it kind of been like settling into your role as a CFI? I mean, I do they just throw you in there and let you start training people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my first flight as a student or as a CFI with
Hmm.
a student was to Phoenix. I did
Oh.
the ferry flight to Falcon Field, out to our Phoenix location.
Hmm.
Took a plane from Addison over to there,
Right.
and that was the first time I've ever flown with a student. That was the first time I've ever flown in mountainous terrain. That's the first time I've had to refuel 2 times on a flight. A lot of firsts. First time
Yeah.
I could pick up IFR when the tower was closed. Never done that before.
Hmm.
So many things that we trained about and we know what to do.
Yeah.
It's just now a matter of actually doing it.
Yeah.
And it was
And you've maybe done it as a student, right? But
yeah, no,
never been solely.
even as a student, like
Yeah.
never flew that far, never flew in the mountains,
Okay.
never we took off at like 4 in the morning. And I know some people have did their instrument
Okay.
training that early
Yeah.
at Thrust,
Yeah.
but I wasn't one of those because I didn't do the bulk of my training here, and
Okay.
so I had never done that. And
Okay.
then with CFW, we weren't early in the morning, so I never picked up a IFR clearance while the tower was closed,
Right.
or flown to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Never done that before, and that was my first time or first flight as an instructor. And they told me about it a couple days prior, so I
Right.
had time to plan it. But it was 2 days of planning, which
Yeah.
is more than enough time to have a thorough flight plan and to look into everything that needs to be looked into.
Right.
But now it's a matter of, okay, this is my responsibility now. It's my responsibility to get us there safely. It's to keep the plane in good shape.
Even come up with a good plan in the first place.
Yeah, and we trained for that, and we were tested on all this knowledge that we need to, and it was a matter of actually executing it. And in the moment, I was even questioning, because it's up to the pilot in command to make the decision on whether the plane's going to go or to not go.
Right.
And I was almost going to say, I might want to get a couple flights with the student in before I do this.
Yeah.
But I made the decision. I was like, no, I've trained for this. I know what to do, and I just need to do it. And this is going to be my first big step.
Yeah.
As a pilot, and we did it, and the VFR sectional made it look a lot scarier than it actually was.
Okay.
It was super chill flight, super long. It was like 9.3 hours.
Wow.
But had a good time with my student. He was flying most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
We had plenty of time to get to know each other. Seeing that terrain and flying through that is now something in my tool belt to now I have some experience doing that, so I can, if somebody has any questions, like I'm now comfortable to be able to answer them,
right,
because I've done something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was super cool jumping in and teaching on a crazy flight like that, and it was fun.
Just straight off the bat. Yeah. Did you get to? It seems like you got to see the horizon at many different times of the day across on the way there and on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to see some of the mountainy terrain?
Yeah.
With like a nice horizon level. I mean, was there any sunset or anything around that time?
It was there like noon whenever we got to there, so it was just pretty much
bright.
Midday bright. But it was definitely beautiful. Like, we don't have those kind of mountains over here in Addison. So
I hear some of the students say, or some of the people talking about, sometimes we have a CFI or a student that's going to be transferred out to Phoenix for whatever reason. Maybe there's a demand, or maybe they're from there or something like that. But a lot of people were excited about that location opening up because they want to fly around and see what some of the terrain looks like out there, because it's much different than Texas.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's some nice colors. I never did ask you earlier about you got started flying. Can you tell me a little bit about your first flights though as a student? Because we talked about how you were working another job. Your dad said maybe this is a career option. To you it made sense. To him it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you got started. But I mean, how did you know you were gonna like it?
I didn't. I never done that before. I'd flown in a small plane, like a 172 or an Archer, like a couple times.
Right.
But I never, saw it as something like to do with my life.
Right.
And whenever I got into it, and now the main focus was for me to be training, not just riding it for fun.
Right.
It was cool. It was so fun. And when you do that first time and you're questioning whether or not to get started with training,
right,
it's like, okay, I could definitely see myself doing this a couple days out of the week or full time, just because it's fun. Like it's really fun.
Yeah.
Flying an airplane. So
yeah, maybe it was Tim. I'm not sure who I was talking to on the podcast. Tim had a great episode. I enjoyed that conversation.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. Did you see his podcast episode? I really enjoyed that podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably go back and watch it. But I don't know if it was him or who was telling me. But a lot of times, like you don't. It's harder to find out what you do want to do versus what you don't want to do.
Oh yeah.
And I guess I say that because you seem to have had the clarity that, like, I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna do this. I can see myself doing this for a long period of time, maybe even for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
When you had to question that before, and I guess it makes it a little easier to sit there and say, well, it's not that.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
If you knew it wasn't for you, like you got airsick or something, which is something you can overcome over time, but it's easily something you're like, I'm not doing that. Or in my case, in most people's case, it's like, dude, this was amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna see this through.
There's not a lot to wonder about. I feel like you get bit by the bug and you keep coming back. So, so now that you've been flying all this time, right? And you go on that trip, one of your first trips as a CFI, that was within the last month.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite part about flying currently?
As a CFI or just flying?
Just flying in general, I guess.
Just flying.
Like, is it an experience? Is it the moment? Is it kind of the thought of the future?
The thing that I try to teach my students, something that my dad told me, was every flight that you have, be as safe as you possibly can be, learn something new every single flight, and to have fun. Because if you're not having all three, it's not going to be beneficial for you or your future, or you in the current moment. And when it comes to the future, I'm trying to really instill not looking too far ahead and really embracing the moment and embracing the journey to get where you want to be.
Right.
Because if all you're focusing on is being an airline pilot, you're not there yet. You're not going to be there for a few more years. You need to focus on the Piper Archer, the systems and the day-to-day stuff that we do in our airplane versus focusing on, I can't wait to be a left seat in a 767 or something like that. But to really embrace what you're like learning and what you're trying to work on now in our current airplane, the Piper Archer. But for me on flying on a day-to-day basis, I'm really enjoying I guess the communication with center or with Lone Star approach, because where I originally did my training, it was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was mostly on the CTAF, and we are just talking to other pilots, and we're not actually hearing the airlines or talking to center. Like for me, I was deathly afraid of going into a Bravo airspace or a Charlie airspace just because I didn't have that experience. Right. But over here, you have to have that experience.
Well, we're like a Bravo under a Charlie, right? Wait, I have it wrong.
We're underneath the Bravo in the shelf, and we have to get clearance to go up into it if we need to. Okay. And you still need to talk to them as you're leaving and coming back to Addison because we're so close to Love and DFW.
Right.
And just getting that experience, in my opinion, is one of the most important because, like I said before, I was definitely afraid of going into that because I'd never done it before.
Yeah. I wonder what that's like being one of the students who are on, maybe even untowered airports or some that are, like you said, aren't going to be under a Bravo or something like that. And I wonder what it's like afterwards as a pilot, like what situation you're going to be in when you're when you're like under that sort of pressure. Because to me, I would be stumbling. I would definitely be stumbling on comms. Do you feel like that was natural when you got here? How fast did
it definitely took a couple flights to get used to that. But I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
And as scary as it is, because Delta Airlines or United or American, whoever can hear you. So and also the controllers can hear you too. So you want to be as professional as you can be, and getting that practice is so essential for students. And I'm glad I'm able to all right, you know what to say, you know how to do it now. Yeah. You have to get over that fear of stumbling a comm or stepping on an airliner when he's making a call at the same time as you. But that's normal. Everybody has to go through it, and that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. What is it about that makes it do you it sounds like you're saying you enjoy it, that part of the journey of flying. Why? Can you tell me a little bit about what's so enjoyable about it? I mean, does it make you feel a certain way or?
It just kind of makes you feel a little bit closer, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because you're talking on the same frequency as these airliners. Yeah. And it's the best possible training, going headfirst into something like that.
It kind of puts you on the same playing field in some ways. Yeah. Just sharing space with them. I mean, it's kind of like getting to play hockey on the same rink as, the professionals, or if you're a basketball player or whatever it might be, sharing a stage with your favorite artist.
Yeah. My student, his mom also flies for American, and we were on a cross country going to the west side of DFW area, and we got vectored right past DFW. And his mom was on a flight. She was flying an American. I can't remember what she flies. I think the Airbus something. But she was there, and we flew literally within 2 miles of her. And and that was just so cool because especially for him, that's my mom with my dream career, and she's literally right there. I can see her on the traffic map. Wow! And it was super cool. And that's also another rewarding thing, flying over here and doing training in Addison. Is we're so close to those airports, it can kind of give you motivation. Yeah, that makes sense.
I was on my way to work this morning, and I'm on Addison Road, and I'm at a light, and I'm kind of just sitting in silence this morning with my windows down and just the regular sounds outside. And I was just kind of sitting there, and I started to, I'm at a red light, so I'm kind of checked out for a second, and then I hear. This big loud jet engine, two of them, and a jet comes flying down. And it was I don't know I haven't seen that jet on this runway, so I don't know whose that was. Maybe I've just never paid enough attention. But I mean, it was I don't know what plane it was, but there was a large jet flying into Addison Airport. I just literally just right over me. I mean, they're about to land in a few seconds. Yeah. And I don't know, I had one of those moments where I was like, I kind of looked around at other people in the cars, and I saw them kind of like watching, not just glancing for a second, but they're like watching it. And
Mhm.
I'm like, kind of made me think twice about what I'm doing and
Yeah,
what I get
yeah.
to be around every day. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
plane was pretty cool just now.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just an interesting ride to work when you say that. And so I can only imagine flying up there, being around anywhere close to a jet.
Yeah.
And knowing that that's something I'm going to do one day. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Well, I always like to ask people what their favorite thing is, because it's always a different answer. And something about something about pilots, uh, for it's such a technical thing, but it's such a craft, and you
Oh
guys do
yeah.
treat it like a craft, and it's not, you kind
100%.
of can't not treat it like a craft. You were talking earlier about, um, in this conversation that we just were having, about not looking too far into the future and just kind of
Mhm.
being present.
Mhm.
It made me think about the word discipline in a way.
100%.
When I was younger, I always felt like I struggled with discipline.
Discipline is so important when it comes to.
Right. But when you read the definition of it, it's kind of different than what you kind of. It's not just self control. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now that I come to think of it, of sort of like someone who has something that they're practicing, they have a discipline.
Mhm.
Like a samurai or something like that.
Yeah.
I know that sounds kind of crazy with a
No,
samurai,
but it makes
but
sense.
yeah, the practice of training oneself or others in habits of order, control, and precision to achieve specific goals, often involving self mastery over motivation and emotions.
Mhm.
That's not what I thought of when I used to think of discipline. I thought about rigidness and rules,
Yeah.
but that's reactive. This is much more proactive. So,
Mhm.
anyways, I'm gonna ask you a question eventually.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Uh,
that's a perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, for you, was there ever a point when in your flight training journey where you came to understand like some of the effort it was really going to take to be good at it? Like, was there any mindset shifts coming into this flight training journey?
Yeah, most definitely. Like kind of what we were just talking about earlier, like with the definition of discipline, like
Mm-hmm.
it's self mastery over motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what I was, just to bring it back what I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
was you have to master everything that you're training now to level up and move up to um that next step.
Right.
Like everyone wants to be in a 777, but if you can't land a Piper Archer, you're don't
Right.
worry about the 777. Worry about
Exactly.
what you're doing right now,
Right.
and work up to that, because it's a huge marathon, not a sprint,
Mm-hmm. Something to
and
build on. Yeah.
something to build on. And mastering your craft is so important, a, for your safety,
Mm-hmm.
but b, for your eventual your next step in your, because you're not going to be a student forever. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go to a place over here like Thrust, with the pace that it's at, it
Right.
is really up to you to master everything that you're doing in the current moment, because before you know it, you're going to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to you now to, like for me, for being an instructor, like you finish so quick, now you have to really put everything what you mastered or practiced to play
Mm-hmm.
now. And it's definitely eye opening, and it's
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I definitely tried to master everything as best as I could now.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm done and I'm training, it's up to me to give quality instruction to the
Mm.
students in order to get them through as fast as possible and
Right.
as efficient as possible.
And then even now as an instructor, I'm sure many people in the same position as you could sit there and think, all right, now I just got to get my 1,500 hours.
Mhm.
And that's like, I mean, it plays into everything you're saying already, but
Mhm.
there's always more to learn. There's really no rush to get to your 1,500 hours if you're not getting the learning out of it that you should
Yeah.
get, right?
Mhm.
I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm there and now 1,500 hours and then I'll get to go fly. And yeah, I guess on paper it sounds like that. There's still a lot to get better at.
100%.
The roof is high, the ceiling is high. I guess there's no ceiling in aviation.
Yeah.
But um, you know, now that you're a CFI, what's one, because I want to ask you a little bit about some of the advice you might have, um, about some of the things you might have struggled in your own training. But beforehand, right before that, what's one of the things you're looking forward to now? What's one of the next moves for you in your career? And is there anything that you're looking forward to?
I haven't had a student get to check ride yet. I started on the 10th. The 10th was my first flight, so it's
Okay.
it's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to get my students to check ride and have them pass
Mm-hmm.
and get that, because I already have had the moment where they were struggling with something,
Mm.
and I've taught them a thing or two, and you can kind of see the light bulb turn on, and feels really good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm most excited for as an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm excited to get to the private pilot checkout to where I can give people who have zero training in the airplane.
Right.
Because for me, I was really lucky and I had a very good instructor who instilled very good habits early.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to do that to somebody.
Right.
And because I've flown with some people who didn't do their training at thrust and they did a certain procedure that was kind of like, no, let's do this a different way. For safety. And I want to be able to do that to the best of my ability to somebody who's never flown before.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you're gonna be you're moving to the Fort Worth location, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone who's listening right now, if you're still listening, by the way,
hope you are.
Like, comment, subscribe. It super helps us out. Especially, I looked at the stats the other day. Like, a lot of people watch us regularly. Actually, I'm really surprised by how many regular listeners we have. But even our regular listeners aren't all subscribed. So if it's your first time, if it's your 10th time, 100th time, we're over 100 episodes in. Subscribing really does help us out. It helps more people find it. If you're enjoying it, I'm sure there's other people who will enjoy it too. But what I was going to say is that we're opening a new location, another new location out at the Spinks Airport in Fort Worth, Texas. We're going to have our A&P school and our flight school out there. And we have a big hangar. It's actually really nice. A couple of really nice classrooms with nice AC. I mean, they're nice classrooms out there. It's a little bit nicer. Yeah. They just refurbished the whole FBO. That's what's taking a little bit of time to. We're trying to do a tour video, but they're finishing up the whole FBO. They're refurbishing the whole thing. But if you guys are anywhere in the area, I'm letting you know because there is a flight school near you. There is an A&P school near you now. And we're actually going to have a thrust day out there. We just had our previous thrust day. Were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was fun. We're going to throw a big thing. We're going to have a lot of Piper Archers and CFIs and students fly out from the Addison location and join us out there because it's going to be the first opening class. It'll be a little small. I'm just inviting anyone and everyone who might be interested. There's no commitment. If you're curious about how we do things, come check out Thrust Day. It's one of the best ways to take a tour. But my question is to you: does that mean that you're going to be moving out there, or are you from Addison? Are you living in Addison now?
I'm living downtown Dallas, or just outside of downtown Dallas.
Okay, gotcha.
So I will be getting an apartment out there, just because I don't want to have a 45-minute to an hour commute to Fort Worth every day with traffic, and I'm gonna go to get an apartment out there and move out there once we all get settled up.
Yeah, you can get a little more for your money out there too. I 100%. Think you can get a pretty decent apartment for a lot 100%. Less. And it's not like you're in the boonies or anything like that. I mean, there's downtown Fort Worth. Some people drive from Dallas to Fort Worth because they like it better out there in terms of nightlife and things like that.
Less crowded, just as nice of a city, less traffic. Yeah, it's all the above. Better all around.
People love Fort Worth. It's pretty cool. I haven't got to go out enough out in Fort Worth, but I'm gonna have to check it out. There's a lot of people listening who may be in flight training now or a little wary about some of the things in flight training. We talked about ATC, for example, earlier. What's a piece of advice you might have for someone who is going to have to learn how to, maybe even at Addison, speak to comms and properly say the right things and know when to talk? What's some of your main advice for people talking about ATC and comms?
So one thing that is pretty commonly given as advice when it comes to comms is listening to live ATC. It's a website where you can listen to the actual live recordings of what is going on. You can just type in a certain frequency, like Lone Star approach is 124.3. So you can go in and type in 124.3 April 30th, 2026. And then click it, and then it'll either have the recordings from earlier or the live of what's going on now. Wow. And you can just listen to everybody and live, or you can, I don't know, maybe you had a flight and you want to listen to yourself. You can go on there, the time you were flying, press enter, and then hear yourself talk.
Wow.
And you can say, okay, let me listen to what I said, and how could I be better? Or maybe there's an airline that you want to listen to, and you want to get ahead and kind of listen to what they sound like.
Right.
And you can do that. And you can hear the approach, what they say, and then hear the person the command is being given to, how they respond, and then just build up your own repertoire like that.
Right. Have you Have you used it in that way at
Yeah,
all?
100%.
Yeah, I didn't know you could go. I mean, I didn't think about the idea of going back to listen to yourself.
Hmm.
I feel like that's the kind of thing I would be trying to do.
Oh yeah,
Because you can really get a lot of clarity on like, oh, I shouldn't have said it that way.
yeah.
So is there anything in your flight training, especially in the first three ratings, right, where you might have started to feel a little stuck, or you were struggling with a particular maneuver or anything like that,
Hmm.
that you kind of had to put a little extra effort into?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, lazy eights in commercial.
Mm,
I was over controlling,
okay.
and it's a maneuver where you're showing the airplane's overbanking tendencies with
Mhm.
itself, and you're
Okay.
kind of just guiding it to exploit those tendencies into a maneuver.
Mm,
And for me, I was trying to force it, but it's
mm,
called a lazy eight because you really don't need to do much.
mhm.
And somebody, Chris Burrows, he was I don't know, he was the very one of my favorite
He
instructors.
was one of our head instructors here,
Yeah,
and he moved on to fly either at the airlines or somewhere.
it's
He got a big boy job,
yeah,
but
he's flying jets and King Airs, I'm pretty sure.
okay.
Um, but he gave me the best advice for powerful 180s and lazy eights
Okay.
whenever I had my chief flights with him. He
Mm,
wasn't my instructor. I wish he was, but in my time that I because back then during stage 3 you would do your flights with the chief,
okay, I didn't know
and
that.
I got him, and it kind of worked out because somebody who was supposed to give me my flights was having an issue with their car, and he was available, and he was like, "Hey, I'll take you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, cool." And then I requested. I was like, "Okay, I really enjoyed those." Anyway, got off topic.
Yeah. No. No.
Chris
Yeah.
Burrows taught me how to do lazy eights and powerful 180s, and just made them way simpler than
Wow.
because I was struggling with them by like over controlling or not
Hmm.
doing enough. But he sharpened me up, and it was really good.
Well, I have two questions about that. I want to ask about, and as someone who's not a pilot, in what scenario would you want to exploit the plane's banking tendencies? Like, what is the point of the maneuver? But I also want to ask you, what did he say to help you?
It's energy management,
Okay.
and you this is on the spot.
Yeah, I know I am.
So
I'm putting it,
no, you're
to
good.
the best of your ability.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is kind of telling the plane and guiding it into doing something that it's already going to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of just holding its hand along the way, if that makes
It's
sense.
about not
Yeah.
overforcing it.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the way the maneuver is you pick a point 45 degrees, a visual waypoint 45, 90, and 135 degrees,
Okay.
and at your 45-degree point, you want to have your max pitch, about 15 to 17 degrees of pitch. At your 90-degree point, you're going to be banking 30 degrees and splicing through the horizon.
Okay.
And at your 135-degree point, you're going to be at your most nose low attitude
Mm-hmm.
and recovering back to the altitude you started at.
Okay.
So it's pretty much just very lazy. You're kind of taking a big chunk up like this, you're flying through, and you're going down like that.
Okay.
And the plane is going to do that by itself if it has a little bit of back pressure and a little bit of bank into the wind,
I see what you're
or
saying.
not into the wind, but to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And as you do that, if you over control it, it's just going to be like, but you want it to just be very simple.
Kind of let it do
and
it, do it
exactly,
by itself. It's kind of like
exactly.
throwing the plane up there and letting
Yeah,
it come down naturally.
in a controlled way, letting it to go.
In controlled way, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Still,
Mhm.
okay, that's cool. I didn't understand that all these times. We've been talking about lazy eights. Is there something that Chris said to you that kind of helped push the envelope or make the light bulb go off?
Yeah.
That you
Baby.
can remember.
Yeah, baby bank, and don't drop the baby. So you
Okay.
have standards with airspeed, altitude, and bank,
Mhm.
and with not dropping or baby bank, all you really need is
Mhm.
just a very slight bank of your ailerons, maybe 2 to 5 degrees. Then
Okay.
after that, you're using pretty much only pitch. You don't have to over control it, and because the plane's going to do it by itself, and you're
Right.
just guiding it. And so you're very baby bank, and you're using your pitch. And as you pitch up, your plane is going to want to bank over to the left more.
Okay.
And as you do that, once you get to that 90-degree point and you're splicing through the horizon,
Uh-huh.
if you let go of the controls too much, you're going to go way too nose low, and you're
Right.
going to go way too fast. And
Okay.
by the time you recover, you're going to be out of that speed limitation.
Okay.
And so if you don't drop the baby, you just kind of easily let it go down. You're not going to get too far nose low, and by the time you go to recover, you'll be right in that pocket of being in your speed standards. And yeah, that's don't drop the baby and a baby bank at the start, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And, as much as I think I can, I that makes sense to me. As
Yeah.
as much as I think I can theorize there.
Mhm.
it's kind of like it's kind of interesting how you guys are challenged to not overdo things. It's almost like let the plane fly in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just it's interesting how that's part of the training, I guess.
Yeah.
And then commercial, it makes sense. You're coming out of an instrument and it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of wrapping up your training, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
I had a follow up question for you because you said something in there that made me want to ask you a follow up question about it, and it was I don't know if it was about the way you talked about the ailerons or not. Oh, does it sort of feel like you're pulling the front end back
Yes.
in a way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, conceptually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're sitting kind of where you were almost in the middle of the plane.
Yeah.
So I don't know if if that's kind of like a unique feeling or not, but that's how I'm imagining. It's almost like as if it were a horse, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
think about that a little bit. Uh, is there something that you're most excited about teaching as a CFI?
Private pilots.
Yeah.
Just people who don't have experience,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that would be really cool to teach somebody and be that first instructor.
Mm-hmm.
What else? CFIs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have 80% check ride pass in order to get checked out to teach CFIs.
So sort of like
And
an elite status thing to do that, right?
yeah, and I have 2 students, and so
Yeah,
I need at least 5 and 4 out of 5 passes to get that 80%
that's
rate.
pretty cool.
And so I'm not quite there yet, but I'm excited to do that. I'd like to do multi.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get my MEI and teach in the Seminole because I really enjoyed my time in the multi,
Mm-hmm.
or during my multi training,
Right.
and yeah, I'm just excited to get started because it's been less than a month,
Yeah,
and so far I'm
exactly.
having a lot of fun, and I just can't wait for this weather to clear up so I can go fly again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's been kind of crazy over the last couple of days. I mean, I like the rain, but as a pilot, I'm sure I'd hate it.
Mhm.
Uh, it's probably my last question, but you said something earlier about really liking the way it feels when helping someone get that light bulb to go off,
Mhm.
and you're not the only person who says that, and I think that's very human actually to say that. And maybe a lot of people don't even get to experience doing that. I've always kind of wondered, what it is that makes us like that so much. I think that humans are really selfish oftentimes, but everyone says the same thing about I really like the idea of helping someone and seeing that light bulb go off, and I'm like, is that maybe just a selfish thing? Do we like the way it makes us feel? But I just always thought about that a little bit.
So all of us as instructors were students at one point, and everybody, it doesn't matter if they're people like to brag and, oh, I was a perfect pilot. Nobody was a perfect pilot when they were in their training. Everyone
Right.
messed up. But it's so frustrating when you can't pick something up that an instructor makes seem so
Hmm.
simple, or on paper it seems so simple, but you just can't do it. And whenever somebody gives you that piece of advice that kind of makes it click, it feels amazing. And then being able to give that piece of advice so it clicks, so they're not frustrated anymore. They're like, yes, like I got it.
Wow.
Like it's that is rewarding. And
I just heard, what I heard just now is that you guys get to experience that part together,
yeah,
and you get to relive that click, even though you don't have to have it yourself anymore.
yeah.
And maybe that's just a way of connecting with somebody as they get through something. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I always wondered about that. You give me a good answer. I literally think about that sometimes. So,
Yeah,
thank you, Nicholas, for joining us on this
of course.
episode
Thanks for having me.
of Pilots Say What, where we get to hear what pilots have to say. And we've had a great conversation. Thank you for being on a second time. And if you guys are still listening, of course, like, comment, subscribe. I'm sure you'll check out the comments. So if you have any questions for Nicholas, he'll check them out. If it's a crazy question, then you don't have to answer. And if you're on our listening platforms, the ratings really help too. And my name is Zach. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
See you.